I begin the development of the intake with a 3D scan of the old intake. Scanning the intake gets angles and distances necessary to build from. I make 3 to 5 scans. Usually this allows me to change the scanner settings, lighting, and surface conditions to get the best possible scan. This is the development process I went through. I started with an STL file of the intake manifold gasket. This is basically the lower side of the intake manifold flange. I start with doing a direct edit, creating a plane through 3 points, and then fitting my mesh sketch to it. As you can see here, this is the first initial steps of actually building from an STL file without using bodies. Here you fit the sketch. As you can see, I use the Eclipse just to make some round holes. This is the fast and dirty version way of doing this. Normally I'll spend more time and get all the water jackets and everything, get it lined up correctly. This is just to show how I do the process. Here I'm using the line tool to fit the ports. One of the things I did notice about doing this is you can use the line tool and it works really good for straight lines, but as soon as you go to needing to fit corners, which I'll show here in a sec, using the spline tool. Now, one of the other notes you need to know on doing this is I reset the first point on sketch each time. It allows it to disconnect from one and allows you to start back over onto those, so you don't have to hit OK each time and try to keep going back through. Here I'm fitting the outside. I didn't spend a lot of time on it. I didn't show the spline part, but if you do it, you walk the spline tool around the corners and it will actually make your piece. This part I'm actually extruding the part to an 1/8 inch, 0.125, and then at this point I'm going to make some offsets on the part itself. So you start a sketch, scroll in, and then do an offset on each of the ports, which forms the body of the outside of your runner. Again, I'm just using general sizes for this because this is just to show you how it works. For the next part, I would just combine the 2 ports using a center rectangle, and I tried to just measure it roughly in between the 2 ports. That way it makes a nice tapered angle here. And my computer's pretty slow, so I have to reset it sometimes and give it a chance to catch up. I don't have a GPU in it yet. But here I am just setting the center point so I can put the line down. I'm trying to find the exact center, and I just was wanting to do this rough and dirty and fast, so I just found a spot roughly in the center, clicked OK, and then made it. So also my construction lines on the corners, I just lined it up roughly. I didn't measure anything out on this one. And you see I finished the sketch here, so I have 2 offsets that I can use to create the loft. And I'm just measuring, making sure I actually have solid bodies. You can see that it blues out this actual port side, so you have an actual solid spot you can pull from. So I'm going to go back and check to make sure I have everything where I need it. This is just me going back through and verifying that the stuff is where it needs to be. And I like the way it actually appears here. Now I'm going to start building construction planes at this point so that I can build the intake runners. So I do an offset from the face for a construction plane, and the next step on this, I'll build a line through it and then do a plane at an angle, so I can get a 90-degree plane at an angle from that point and then build my loft up to it. You can see here I'm looking through trying to get things where they need to go. Here I'm building a construction line for the as discussed part. Now, one of the things I've been doing research on is would it be better to do like a loft that goes to a circle so I can put a rubber hose on top of it. That way it gives it a little bit of flex. Because if I end up 3D printing this whole intake manifold, you know, a little bit of flex on the upper half would probably be more beneficial. Here's the plane and angle. There's the line I'm trying to use. Yep, there it is. So I've got that. There's my angle. Now I'm going to go through and I'm going to set up the ending points of the runner. I just roughly went up 6 inches for this plane, so this is just a rough and dirty way of doing it. I'm pretty sure there's somebody out there who knows how to do this better, but this is the way I found that actually works for what I'm doing. So here I'm trying to set 3-inch round circles, and then I'll do a center circle on the inside of them at 2.5, so it gives it a good size wall. And again, this is just for show's sake. The one that I actually finish up, I'll put more time into figuring out what the actual thickness I want to print these to. And I think one of the other benefits of this is if you 3D print it, you can 3D print this into individual pieces. Like you can have a block for just your center runner, and then a block for your outer runner, and then you can build a flange. So it's more modular that way, is what I was thinking. So I've created my circles. They look pretty good. I'm going to remove that plane, finish my sketch, then I'm going to start building the lofts, which is under your solid tab, and then right there. You build loft from your base up, so that's the reason you need that whole section there. There's your loft, and if you'll notice here in the next section, it's not hollow, like it's solid, and I'll show you a trick on how to get them to be hollow here in a second. And there I am checking things out, making sure it looks okay. I should have left that lower sketch on, but I shut it off for some weird reason. There it is. So that's the one I need, and I'll create a loft there. Again, another solid body, which is not what I was wanting. So to fix that, use loft again, and you just use the 2 faces that you want to cut out. So you see here I use the bottom and the top, and now it's a cut out piece, which is a nice trick to do it simply. It works well on the other side here also. So there I'll click 1. You got to do 2 different times because it only gets 1 face each time. So there's loft again, and I'm grabbing the other face, and I try to just do it real quick there, but there's that one. Both are cut out now, so both ports are separated. And again, this isn't the permanent one. This is just to show how this works, and that you can build an intake this style fairly quickly. I think this video's 8 minutes long, so. But it also gives you a nice taper in the center. That's how detailed this one is. It's pretty nice. If you spent more time on it, I imagine you'd have something a little bit better. But there's what it looks like. And here I'll just show you what the